Hi everybody, Mike Pfeiffer, Pfeiffer Hobby Supply again. The fair, our Doña County State Fair, is going to be this Wednesday through Sunday. So I'm going to be a busy guy most of this week, but I'm going to try and do this video and hopefully get it out sometime during this week, because I won't be able to do it on Sunday. I'll be tired on Sunday and it's just not going to be possible. But it's an important one. This is going to be 39, and I know it's coming shortly after 38, but we're going to talk about something here that, well, let me just tell you, there's going to be big changes in here. And this just occurred to me today, and I'm going to make it work. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to make it work. And I'm going to show you here. This will give you an idea. Yes, it's tape on the floor. Now, that being said, that tape goes over there. I'm going to explain to you what I am going to do. And this is not it, but it's going to be something similar. Let me just walk you through it. Okay, I came out here today, and as usual, you guys know me. Every time I come in here, I look at that crap down there at the end, and I get ticked off. And then I also get a little bit peeved about these boxes being so far under the layout. And I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'll give you some ideas maybe at the end here if I remember. But you can see what I came out here and I thought, I got all this space in between the chair and the layout over there. Maybe I should come out of here, come out of that hole right there, which is on the main line, come out this way and build a little peninsula. Well, peninsula doesn't work simply because then I go back to what I had before, and that is too skinny on this side, too skinny on that side, and the peninsula is hardly worth building. So that tape's all going to get ripped up off the floor. But here's what we are going to do. Hang on. Okay, when you look at this chair, you can see that the back of it is narrow and the front of it is wide. And it does not go all the way back against the wall, and I waste a lot of space back there. Here's the plan that Robin helped me think about, okay? I have the spray booth over here. I don't use the spray booth very often. I have this bench for other people to sit on. And I don't remember the measurements of it, but I'll get there in a few minutes. But the idea is to take this chair, move it over here, and put it at a 45 coming out from the spray booth. And if you look, this line right here is about a 45 if you picture the other side of the chair coming out over there. Now, if I decide to use the spray booth, this chair slides very easily on this carpet. And I could put some sliders under it just to even make it easier. But I don't think that's necessary. But the chair, I'm going to try moving it over there. Then we're going to take that bench, and hold on one second. Let me find, it's in my pocket. Hold on. Bear with me. This bench is, hold on, we're still working on this. I'm not too shifty. This bench is 32 inches wide. 32 inches over here, going over here by the pictures, would put me, excuse me again, I can't get the tape measure to stay out. if I go right over to the pictures, the end of the tape measure there is where that would take me. Now, roughly, that leaves about 27 inches out. And 27 inches is about just inside where the arm of this chair, back about where the back of the chair is. So really, if I move the bench over here, it goes tight up against the wall and over even with the pictures over there. And it's low. If I move the chair over here, it takes up the least room it could possibly take up in this room. So we're going to make that change. That will free up some space over here for me to come out of that hole over there at this level, about that level right there, come out of there onto a peninsula that just goes over and goes up against the wall, and will probably not go over any further than the side of that picture right there, because I don't want to move the picture. But it'll come out here, come straight out, get about right here, and make a gentle loop. Then that track will go back in about where that tile is right there. It'll go back in to where that loop goes downhill there and tie back into the main line. So that track will come out of there or come out of there, come out here, make a loop around this thing that we're building out here, which if I stand back is going to be about right there. So it'll loop around and go back in there. That's the theory. This book cabinet will move out to here, to the end of that. That'll all move out to the end of there. Maybe over here. It might move over here. Not exactly sure. Anyway, and that will be at a lower level than that right there. Okay, so whatever scenery I put on it, the scenery can go up against that fascia. That will have wax paper behind it before I put the scenery up to it. Therefore, if I need to get there, I can disconnect that, pull it back off. I'm not going to say it's going to be on rollers, but it might be sitting on sliders, and somehow will clamp or attach to that fascia there, but the scenery will not be attached to that fascia. At least that's kind of the thinking of it. But it will definitely be about 6 inches lower than the current top of that fascia. So if you can picture this being a lower table here, and it's this, by the way, whatever I put on here, and I'll give you my thinking in a minute, will all be unitrack. So the upper level will be the Pico-Track, the lower level will all be unitrack. So it's going to come out of there unitrack, it's going to come along. Anyway, I don't have a plan for exactly what's going to be in here, but to fill you in, you guys probably know that somewhere in here, I have a potash train. So I've looked at potash mines here in New Mexico, and they're usually out in the middle of nowhere, and they stockpile up the potash, and it's usually a pretty good size operation. Of course, mine would be a scaled down version of that, but it just gives me another place to go. I can run a train out onto it, through it, back onto the main line, or I can bypass it and go underneath the layout there. But that's the game plan, and why, you ask? I don't know, just something to do. Don't you think it's a good idea to have something to do all the time, fresh thinking, and go with your ideas? I don't know. I've had people criticize me for it, but I think makes it fun. But anyway, I'm planning on doing something like that. I don't have the exact plan worked out. I can visualize it in my head. And that's all I know about. But like I said, that bookcase will come out of there, move out there or out here. And I'm not sure what yet. That will remain to be seen when I get the bench work made for this little project. Another thing is, when I come here, I look at all that junk down there, and I don't like it. And I have all of these boxes stacked up right here that are all my car and locomotive boxes. And I want to get them hidden. So, anyway, to get to the point of all this, I think that this whole model case is 73 inches long. And lo and behold, between that leg right there and that leg right there, that's about 76 inches wide. So what I can do is I can bring that case right out to the edge of this fascia, or maybe set back an inch or something, but I can bring it out here to the edge. And what that does, it leaves more than enough room for all these tubs to be put behind there, because I don't get in them unless I'm going to sell something, and then I'll get in it, look for the car box, and we just never throw away car boxes or locomotive boxes. I don't know if everybody knows that. But anyway, it gives me a place to put all that stuff and hide that stuff out of there, okay? Then I have room over here for more places to put this type of stuff that people don't need to see, okay? I can put it back in that corner right there. So that got me thinking, which is a bad toto in my case. But I got to thinking, this is kind of stupid, man. I have to duck under the layout every time I want to get something out of those boxes. So here's the game plan. I'm going to pull those boxes out close to the fascia of the layout, and then I'm going to tack a small wooden strip or something along the backside so that you can't push them in there too far. And actually, I may even take I don't want to take the rollers off of them, but I got to keep a way to keep them from rolling around when I'm trying to get in and out of them. So I'll probably put a strip of wood in the back to keep them from rolling backwards when I'm getting in and out of them. But I'm going to bring them out. It's kind of the same thing. I'm going to bring them out about that far so that I can just open the drawers and get the stuff and put it out on the layout. And once again, it gives me space behind all of that to hide things that I don't want people to see. I don't mind people seeing all these boxes here, and I surely don't mind people seeing the models, and they're very hidden back over there. I just think they would look better down there. Now, what I have to keep in mind is when I get those boxes right there and those boxes right there stashed someplace, either down here or behind the model cabinets or behind these cabinets, then that will be something that I don't have to look at all the time. Plus, I'll have this extra space out here. And this is really all just a matter of rearranging and utilizing a little more space to do a little more scenic stuff. And you guys know I like doing scenic stuff. And people always ask me, how come you're not using Cato Unitrack? Well, I'm going to use a little Cato Unitrack. So, like I said, this little lower peninsula that's going to stick out here is going to be Unitrack. So, that being said, I don't know when I'll start on that because I'm going to be busy, but what I'm going to start doing right now is moving furniture. And I'm going to pull up tiles, and I'm going to move that stuff out from under there. I'm going to take all the models off of that, and I'm going to move that around over there and get it situated where I want it. And I believe that this time, when I've moved this, I did not put it on tile. I cut the tile out over there. And if I move it over there, I don't want to do that again. So anyway, I'm going to start working on moving stuff around. I'll keep you guys posted on this, and I'll put enough of this together that hopefully I can piece it together and make a video out of it. And I'm sorry for the dead zone pieces that are in here, but I'm a little bit on the excited side. Okay, that took all of about 5 minutes. And you can see that it seems like it, to me, that space over there too is kind of wasted where the spray booth is, because I don't use it that often. I do use it, but you can see that it only took me a couple of minutes just to move that chair over there in that corner. And pulling it out to use the spray booth seems to be the logical thing to do to save space in both ways. So I can get in around it over there if I need to. I can pull it out if I need to. I can probably put the trash can over here on this side. I still have access to this plug, which actually is a nice feature because I have a night light that goes in here that comes on in the dark, of course. And it's handy when I come out here and it's dark outside and I open the door. And being as it is currently underneath the spray booth over there, I don't get much light out of it. And I don't even get enough light out of it to see the switches here on the wall. And I've been threatening to go get a lighted switch for this one, which is the important one. But I haven't done it. But there's the chair moved to the corner. Now we're going to put this guy behind me. Okay, so here's the chair moved. Here's the bench moved. There's my doorway. And what I did is I even moved it down a little bit further so I don't block that plug there, which has my Linksys, which connects my Wi-Fi out here. And I'll just find a different place to put those paper objects. And that's likely to be over here on this wall. But you can kind of see, let me get way back here, and you can kind of see how that panned out. And I'm liking that simply because I have a lot of space here to use. I really have a lot of space here to use. And I might use it all. And I might wind up moving that picture there, or some of that stuff there, to utilize that. Because that picture can be moved up over there. There's a lot of things I can do there. I know those pictures definitely can be moved. But I'm really liking this idea of having a little bit lower level here, kind of. It'll be lower than the main layout by about 4 or 5 inches. And just come out here, have some space to do some stuff, and not interfere horribly with the space to get in between the layout. So if you picture this line as far as this thing is going to come out, if I was to measure that out, let me measure it out, I'll come back to you. Okay, here's my little setup that I use to actually see how far out things are from the fascia. So if you picture that plumb bob being right on the edge of that tape, this distance between here and this, actually, this is, if you hold, let me see if I can get my fingers out of there. If I hold this flat against the fascia, you can see that that's about 3 inches. In other words, that sticks out about 3 inches, okay? So if you take 37, well, about 37 and a half, say 36, even if I make it 36 and I take 3 inches off of that, that's 34 inches to walk between here. And I think any person of any weight should be able to get through there, and it won't look obstructive. The other beauty about this, too, that I didn't cover with you, is if this is 5 inches lower sticking out here, when you walk in, there won't be this overpowering mountain that I had before. You'll be able to see all the way down to the other end of the layout, even with this in place, because I'm not going to build anything that high, and I probably have 12 inches to build height-wise before I even start to block the fascia, let alone the looking all the way down to the other end of the layout. or see someone who's over there. That was another issue with the peninsula I had sticking out before, was you couldn't see anyone on the other side of the mountain over there. So anyways, I'm not defeating the purpose. Everybody's going to say you're defeating the purpose of what you did before. No, I'm not. I'm doing something better than I had before, because I'm not blocking everybody's view of the rest of the layout and the other people who may be in here. So if you can just kind of picture a big rectangular thing here with a round edge on the outside here, that's kind of what we're going to have, or at least that's what I envision. And I won't know what that looks like until I get something to hold it up and figure out how high it needs to be. So that being said, I haven't built any fresh bench work in a long time, so I'll have to get a little bit of wood and just start. And it'll probably be built the same way as the rest of the layout, and that is it's on L girders, and I'll just build some L girders out, and I'll build the L girders rigid with some legs on it. And like I say, it'll probably have some type of sliders or something in the end of it. In the end of the legs is what I should say. So that when I cut the piece up against the fascia there, and I will make a pattern to do that. I'll lay a cardboard under there to make a pattern to create that shape. Then I can put the new piece right up against there, make it go all the way around the corner, but it'll trap that fascia in. And I don't really want to do that, because if I ever decide to take that out of there and do something else, not something else, but if I ever need to redo it or get in there for some reason, replace track or whatever, I want to be able to move whatever I put in front of that here. So that is the object, is to move a structure that fits there and is movable. What I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to try and figure out approximately how this will look, and I'm going to lay it on the floor with the green tape and let you see. I don't know where I left off, but anyway, if you can picture this piece right down here being a piece of plywood, but lifted up to this level right about here, that would be the level of this piece going all the way around and back in over there. Now, what I've thought about doing is taking this curve underneath here and eliminating it, coming straight out the end over there onto this peninsula, have it come out, go around this peninsula, back in, and there's a straight piece, pardon my finger, there's a straight piece inside of there, and go straight into that and back down to the bottom over there and back around. That would take the lower main line, run it out onto this peninsula, around it, and then back under, and then out over there. I think that would add some interest, and I don't know. I just think it would be kind of a separate little entity. I mean, it's not going to tie into the scenery up here. It will likely be a whole different area of scenery. I don't know. You guys remember the little section that I built in the garage back in the south, would have been the southeast corner of the room, was a separate entity all in itself, a whole different scenery area. And that's kind of what this would be. And I don't know. I don't really have a lot of plans for it. But anyway, you get the idea. The cabinet will be moved out here. The models around over there. All these under here out towards the front of the fascia. They'll be blocked to keep from rolling back. And all of the car boxes and stuff can go behind there. These still roll out so I can get to them. But there'll be a bunch of storage. Instead of wasting all that space back there, I can use it for storage. So, that being said, that's where I'm at. Okay, everybody. I'm in the middle of moving stuff. There's the cabinet right there. I do have it turned 90 degrees. I have all the models off it on a table. The bad news is the back of it's coming off, and the back of it is masonite. I've got to go out and get some paneling nails, and I've got to reattach that back all the way around before I can move it into place. But when I move it into place over there, I'm going to move it all the way to the leg over on the right, and I have measured it, and it's 11 inches deep. And if I put the front of it right out here at the edge of the fascia, or near that, then I will have about 20 some inches or more in the back to get behind it, to do city wiring and all that stuff behind it. I can get behind it. I can get my body behind it. Let me put it that way, without having to scooch it or move it or roll it or do whatever. So right now, you can see that I'm a skinny guy, so I barely fit through here. But I'm going to go get some paneling nails and see if I can attach up the back of that thing. Then I'll move it into place. Okay, gang. Well, I haven't started doing anything except moving that cabinet. That cabinet also required some repair. I also have about 24 inches behind that cabinet to do my town wiring and stuff over there. I can drop it all down, get to all of my hubs are up against the back wall back there. So I've got plenty of room to get in behind that cabinet and connect all that stuff as I go. That's not a problem. I actually like the cabinet there. The next order of business is to go get a strip of, I don't know, cabinet molding or something, so that I can pull these cabinets. Let me show you. Hang on. Here we go again. This is the one I just built, and it's empty. But what I'd like to do is pull these cabinets out to about there. And as you can see, I have a fair amount of space in behind there. And it is, hold on a minute, let me get out my tape measure. Let me put you on hold. Okay, if I bring them out to what I'm showing you here, there's about 23 inches, actually 22 inches of space there. And up here, I'm about 2 or 3 inches back from the edge of the layout. So if I put a piece of wood along the floor right there, it'll keep these from rolling backwards, but I will still be able to pull them out. And I've lost what happened to my foot here? Something's going on here. But anyway, oh, it's up against over there. But anyway, those tubs, that tub's sitting sideways, but all these tubs are about 16 or 17 inches deep, so I will be able to at least put these tubs behind there, and there's probably other things I can put behind there as well. So the idea is to move this stuff out. Now I can't move that very easily, but as I say, let me drop my tape measure. Let me take a picture back here for you. If I can. Hang on, I'm trying to get where I can see. As you can see, maybe you can't see. As you can see, that distance right there is, hang on, let me measure it. So that distance back there is also 22 inches out to the edge. So I have plenty of room to put stuff somewhere. I don't want to load that up yet with junk. This scenery over here is almost done, and all the buildings and things will be out here at the front, which means I can pull these cabinets out and get to all that. In behind here, I'll have to crawl in behind there to attach my lights and stuff, but that's really not a big deal. And over here, eventually that cabinet will go. The only thing left in here is probably going to be that, and I'm hoping to put it down there at that end. So anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is I have this planned out, but I'm not there yet. I have to bring all those cabinets out. So But the chair, there's stuff laying all around, but the chair and the bench, I think, are in good positions. I like this right here. So, yeah, there's three, behind that cart, there's 3 more tubs of car boxes and locomotive boxes. So all those will go behind over here on this side. So those will all be out of the way. I also, way over there, just barely in the picture down above the red-capped scenery material, the scenery containers, there's a table there, a folding table there. And then behind that, there's a 2-drawer cabinet. That 2-drawer cabinet's going to go at some point. It's just got rock molds in it and a bunch of miscellaneous transformers. So when I get rid of that stuff, I'll be able to get rid of that little white cabinet that's back there in the corner. Put that stuff somewhere else. But anyway, the transformation is taking place. Okay, everybody, that's it for 39. And it's not going to be a whole lot of work. One thing I didn't tell you in the video that I'll tell you here at the end is when I build the bench work over here, I'm going to use 2-inch foam on the top of it again. I'm not going to use plywood on this lower portion because I'm thinking I may want to cut down into it because it's really going to not be cohesive with the rest of the layout. It's going to be its own little sub-layout down here on the bottom. Sort of similar to what the loop is on the top, only that's just for display purposes, and it does look like it's cohesive with the layout. But this is going to be its own little entity down here, and the scenery on top is not going to go over it. The scenery on the bottom is going to be its own thing. So, that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm kind of tuckered out today. And as usual, thanks for watching.